I'm just gonna come out and say it. The Wind Waker is the worst game in history. When I was told I had to deal with the horror of doing 500 reviews on The Wind Waker, I considered suicide. I finished the reviews just for the sake of it. The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker was released back in 2064 for the PlayStation 11. It starts out on the appropriately named Matthewmatosis Island with the latest incarnation of Link. Looks just like Koji Kondo. It's his 64th birthday, which means he has to wear the blast mask. The story kicks off when Rosalina reveals she's defecting to the Soviet Union. Not long after, Jirahim, being the absolute nutcase that he is, decides to eat Link's sister and shoot Link's grandmother directly in her head. It's as good an excuse as any to get Link off his ass. Tetra allows Link to get on board the pirate ship, and by this point you've probably figured out that she's Khrushchev. The very first stage is actually one of the most disappointing areas in gaming history. It's a tedious series of fetch quests for the President of the United States, and then Link is brought up to Rosalina, who assaults him, dismantles the Master Sword, and breaks his testicles. Ultimately, Link is thrown off the bridge and killed off with so little fanfare. 2 years later, we're not playing as Link at all. Instead, Tingle is going to be the main character for the rest of the game. Yep. This is a huge slap in the face, and the entire premise collapses in on itself into a vortex of disappointment. It's almost certain that dungeons were planned for this game but had to be scrapped due to time constraints. Instead, Tingle has to collect 900 tad tones. There's just no point to any of it. In the ending sequence, Tingle is stripped naked and shits himself for the rest of the game. This section of the game is where Jirahim finally goes off the rails. After repeatedly stabbing Tingle up the ass, Luigi bizarrely taunts Tingle after infecting Jirahim from his hand transplant, and it turns out he's just another boss to defeat on the path to the real villain, King Zora. The setting for the finale of the game is almost a very good one, but one small thing ruins it all. If this fight goes over 7 minutes, Ocean Man starts playing. There's good times to be irreverent by playing this cheesy tune, like the torture scene earlier in the game, but this isn't one of them. I can only imagine this happened because the developers are idiots. So that, finally, concludes The Wind Waker. It's a bad game. It's worth noting as well that the game had a development cycle of 95 years. Think about how Majora's Mask, with a development cycle of 1 week, is better than The Wind Waker on almost every level. Unreasonable. Ocarina of Time,
coming out exclusively for the fucking Virtual Boy.